recording, share. Hopefully you can see my screen probably.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so our today's lecture is based on optical fiber. Okay, probably in our last lecture I have shared an optical link. So in our optical link, our initial component is actually a laser. Okay, so what laser do? Laser convert electrical signal to an optical signal, current to light. So this laser goes through an optical fiber. So this is a symbol of optical fiber. Then probably in between the signal can be amplified. This is an amplifier, and then this is amplifier. Then it can be modulated. It can be modulated signal so that the RF signal can be inserted in the optical domain. Then probably it goes further in distance, then detector. So in the detector, the optical signal is again converted back to the electrical signal. So in this domain, whole is all optical, and end to end is electrical. So it's electrical, it's electrical. So in between, so we can say there are these are optical components. Optical fiber is an optical component. Amplifier is an optical component, like optical amplifier. This is a modulator. This is optical modulator. Again, detector. So they are. So this is the transmitter. This is the receiver. So by default, the receiver in an optical is a detector or photodetector, and the transmitter in an optical system is actually a laser. So these are actually the components we actually discussed a little bit. So today in this lecture, we will actually more discuss with point by point. So this is very fundamental building blocks. So we'll actually more discuss on this component, optical fiber. That's why this is actually our topic today, optical fiber. So actually in this lecture, mostly the light properties, characteristics, these are discussed, and few characteristics of the optical fiber are discussed actually. Yeah. So introduction, basic properties of light. These are very fundamental stuff, probably you know from the physics. So optical fiber characteristics, like various types of, and we'll see the how optical characteristics changes in this fiber. Okay, so inshallah we will go from easy to the in-depth. Okay, so don't worry. So we already discussed that like when we discussed the history of transmission medium, we said at the beginning it was a copper wire through which our telegram, telephone, these are actually transmitted. Then came the RF, like radio communication, the microwave. Then came the optical. So as it progressed from ages, then the bandwidth as well as loss, the loss decreases and bandwidth increases. So we have seen in our previous lecture a parameter called BL product. B is the bandwidth and A is the length. How long you can go with very low loss and how much information you can carry on. Our aim is to increase the bandwidth and decrease the loss. So bandwidth should be increased, and the length should be like it should be go with a low loss for a maximum distance. Okay, so here some the history that we actually discussed earlier. They're actually discussed here when they innovated this type. Now, what is the advantage of optical fiber? Why we like to use optical fiber? Definitely, optical fiber is kind of combination of glass and plastic. It's a kind of alloy. Definitely is a very low light. And the main two reasons we like to use optical fiber are the bandwidth. It's very hardly we can go to this bandwidth gigahertz by using even microwave. In microwave, our typical bandwidth is in megahertz. For example, can you tell me what is the GSM, like our mobile phones? What is their bandwidth? GSM? In our country, because GSM is actually a worldwide standard nowadays, there is no CDMA. Before there was a technology CDMA, this becomes almost absolute. So GSM is more popular. In Bangladesh, the GSM frequencies are 900 and 1800 megahertz. There are two band, dual band. So 900 megahertz and 1800 megahertz. And each of them actually, like for example, if I talk about the operator in Bangladesh, Grameenphone is an operator, for example. So they have 5 megahertz bandwidth in 3G. Of course, it probably recently in 4G bidding, another 5 megahertz was. So you see, their bandwidth is very limited. But we want to go up to gigahertz, which we do by our submarine cable. The cable we are connected, like every countries in the world are connected, their bandwidth is very high. Okay. The most important issue is actually this one, interference immunity. So this is actually the reason we actually shifted from microwave to optical. This, if I go, there is a, so these are the optical submarine cable I was talking about. So there was a spectrum, yeah, this one. You see, in microwave, where we were, in microwave we were in this region, in this region, microwave. In this region we were there, microwave. Now we are here. We are actually here. So this is actually close to 200 terahertz. Terahertz actually nothing but 10 to the power 12, right? So 200 means it becomes 10 to the power 14. So why we shifted from this frequency range to that frequency range? It's a huge, right? Huge shifted. So it was, for example, gigahertz is 10 to the power 6. So to 10 to the power 12 is actually huge shifted. Why we shifted there? There is a reason that we shifted in this frequency range. For example, the reason is this one, this immunity of interference. What happens actually? For example, in our microwave, for example, this is a tower in Boat Bazaar, for example. This is a tower, microwave tower, microwave tower, and this is your mobile phones. Okay, so we are getting a signal from microwave tower to the mobile phones. Now this is actually transmitted at this megahertz, 10 to the power 6 ranges. Now in this frequency range, what happens? So for example, this tower is there, other mobile phones towers are also there. For example, if this is GP tower, the Banglalink, other mobile phones towers are there. They are almost in the same frequency range, very close, right? Same frequency range, 10 to the power 6. Also, when this, mostly our microwave link actually are the beside the highways. So if this is the highways, mostly the towers are actually very close to the highways. Also in these highways, we have high tension line, we call national grid, right? Our national power, electricity goes along to this highway. Now, when it goes, for example, our national grid have 100 kV to 330 kV. This is actually the volt, right? But when in this high tension line, they also radiates. They radiates electromagnetic like field in this range, approximately 10 to the power 6 gigahertz range. So if your tower is very close by, then you also get the interference. You see, there are lots of sources that the gigahertz range got corrupted. Got the guy? So now if we shift our whole frequency spectrum from gigahertz to this these ranges, we actually far away. 10 to the power 14 is very, very high frequency. And in nature, naturally, there is no other equipments. Even in nature, for example, when there is a thundering also emits electromagnetic pulses. That is also in gigahertz range. But we are actually far away. Means actually no one actually can interfere us. The electromagnetic interference immunity. So this frequency range is very immune to the interference. That is actually the main reason we shifted there in this domain. Of course, at that frequency, the electromagnetic force or electromagnetic field converts to the light. So that's actually the carrier. That's actually the main reason why we move there. Okay, and also security is very good one. For example, if we say like copper wire, then it's very easy. For example, without destroying or without any what is called tapping, like without breaking the copper wire, you just a coil. If you put a coil around, then you can actually sense the voltage in the copper wire. Means actually you can tap the signal. But for optical fiber, it's not possible. You cannot break it. So that's actually the reason we use optical fiber. So the bandwidth and immunity are actually the most important stuff. Of course, optical fibers is usually installation cost are a little bit higher, and in case on the like way, if somewhere it breaks, it's difficult or a little bit expensive to. It's not as the copper wire, right? Copper is very easy if it breaks somewhere to maintain it. Okay. So, but the joining of the optical fiber are not easy. Okay. So this is actually the same picture that I draw earlier, the link of an optical fiber. Okay. Okay. So we will go directly to the properties of light. And these are like very fundamental basic, but this will help you to understand further, because we will discuss with some fundamental stuff. So it will help you. Now, this is very famous formula, right? How we actually find wavelength or frequency. Now, we know the frequency is the number of oscillations in 1 second per second, and wavelength is the complete cycle from 0 to 0 phase is the complete cycle. And c is the velocity of light in vacuum. Now, speed of light in air is the maximum, because there is nothing there. It's almost vacuum. So speed of light in vacuum is the maximum. We know this is the quantity, 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Now, if this same light has to pass through some denser material, for example, this is a glass. Glass is denser than air. So the speed of light will be definitely decrease. For example, it's the same thing, like same physical principle. If you like walk through the air, like a normal road, so in or vacuum, you do not feel much drag. But if you have to walk through a swimming pool full of water, then your drag will be very high. Even if you do that in a swimming pool full of glycerin, the dragging will be much higher, right? So means denser the material, the slower the speed. That's actually the idea. Now, for light, there are two kind of physical phenomena happens. One is the reflection. Either light reflect or light penetrate. If it's a transparent material, something, then light will be penetrated. And if it's not, then like shiny, like mirror, it will be reflected. Definitely, if this what is called the plane is much smoother, then the reflected light will be very what is called the regular reflection. But it's rough, then we call it diffuse reflection, because the reflection goes in different ways. Now we are not interested with reflection, right? We are interested with the refraction. The one of the refraction means if it inserted. So what's happened in reflection? What's happened if a ray comes, ray incident? Okay, change the color. So if a ray inside, like on a shining plane or mirror, for example, then it reflects. So we can find the angle of incident and the angle of reflection. Of course, there are, if this is the alpha I angle of incident, which is this angle, and alpha R is the angle of reflection, this angle, they will be equal because they make a equal angle with the vertical plane. Now we are actually more interested with the refraction. Refraction means it will not reflect, it will be penetrated, but when it penetrates means if it's happened between the two medium 1 and medium 2. What does it mean? Medium 1 and 2, they are different medium because their densities, medium densities are different. For example, this is air and this is, for example, water. So what happens when a light actually try to penetrate from a one medium to another medium? In medium 1, for example, okay, when how the light will be propagated, the velocity of light, for example, just take a small light unit. For example, this is a photon, like single. When it was like, what is the velocity of this photon depends on this medium. Okay, so it's actually depends on this proportion. So if this light is going through going through a air, what's happened? The velocity of light in vacuum, velocity of to the proportion velocity of this, like same. So this proportion factor is called the refracting index N. Okay, that's actually our this proportion. Based on this refracting index, the velocity actually depends. Okay. Now for air, this refractive index is 1 because these two properties are same, like it's 1. Now if it goes through water, what will happen? C0 by C water W. We know C0 is 3 into 10 to the power 8. But CW is denser material, right? Water is denser. What will happen? The velocity will decrease. Speed of light will be decreasing. So which will not equal to 3.8. It will be much lower. Means this value, refracting index of water, will be always higher than 1. Always greater than 1. The optimum value for refracting index is always 1, which is actually this one. So the refracting index is 1. Right? So the higher, the denser the material, the medium, or denser the medium, the higher the refracting index, because this value will be lower, because it's more denser means what? The speed of light of that medium will be low. Lower the denominator will actually increase the total value, right? You are getting, guys, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now here is a comparison given. Okay, in air is 1, and in water 1.33. Okay, and in glass these ranges. So optical fiber actually made up of glass. It's actually polymer of glass polymer. So it's actually close to this 1.5. So if nothing is mentioned, we can take it as a typical value 1.5 as a refracting index. So refracting index actually gives what? Refracting index is actually nothing but the proportion of the speed of speed of light on a particular medium in reference to the vacuum. That's actually the refracting index. So this single term immediately gives us a picture how denser it is, right? Okay, there are some calculations given. It's easier stuff. Now very, very, very like well-known law of refraction. We know it by Snell's law. In nowadays, actually, like probably in our school, it's very popular now. We know it. So what is the Snell's law tells us? So this is a medium, medium 1 whose refractive index is N1, medium 2 whose refractive index is N2. When the light in incident light is supposed to be actually, if there is no changes, it would be a transparent, that this would be its direction, but which is not. It actually tends to, if this you see this outgoing light on the plane, this plane is actually bending towards the normal plane, vertical plane, means actually this medium N2 actually denser than N1. That's why that's happening. Yeah, it's actually here N2 is actually greater than N1. So if this happens, if there are two medium, then this is actually our incident angle. This is actually our refractive angle. So we know that this is like very well-known equation. N1 sine alpha equal to N2 sine here as capital theta. So very well-known formula. By the way, anyone knows who proposed this Snell's law, like at the beginning, like from where this Snell's law came? A Muslim scientist actually first proposed this law. Probably later, Mr. probably Snell's, he was actually Dutch scientist. I do not know his complete name. Some Snell's, whatever. He actually make it popular. Who is called the father of optics? Father of optics. Which scientist? Ibn al-Haytham, right? He was the, he's called the father of optics. Most of the optical experiment that we do nowadays, or actually he is the guy who actually first proposed or explain how our eye works. Previously, it was commonly like theory that our eye send light to see objects. He actually first experimentally proved that from objects lights come and fall to our eyes. That's why we see stuff. Okay, so Snell's law is very popular, very well known when there is a light interaction happening between two medium. Light interact between two medium. Okay. Now, here comes this idea, total internal reflection. What happened? If N2 is greater than N1, N2 greater than N1 means this medium is higher density medium. You see what's happening in the Snell's law? Let me delete so it will be much easier to understand again. What is happening again here? That light is actually, when light insert from lighter dense medium to the higher dense medium, the light, this was its normal path, right? But it bends toward this plane. So when light enter from light medium, lower refracting index to the higher refracting index, it bends towards the plane, normal plane, vertical plane. What happens if it's opposite? If this is the case, means N2, if light goes from higher refracting index to the lower refracting index, it will actually do what? So for example, this is actually incident light. then this is actually its normal trajectory. So it actually go. So this is actually our normal plane. Instead of going this direction, it will actually goes away at this direction. So for what angle this light propagates to the intersection of this plane or 90 degree, for example, these angles becomes 90 degree. That angle is called the critical incident angle, or for that critical incident angle, this phenomena is called total internal reflection. You see, the light, when we say reflection, if light falls, light goes back, this is reflected, right? It's actually almost here. It's actually when the light is actually here. Means actually it's almost to the edge of the reflection. That's why it's called internal reflection. So this term, total internal reflection and critical angle, this terminology will come again and again in our when we deal with optical fiber, because different fiber mechanism uses this phenomena. So for good, guys. So we get three cases of light, like its attitude, right? For example, light can be reflected when the reflected light, like incident angle. So the incident angle is less than the critical angle, then light will be reflected. If this incident angle is equal to the reflected angle, then the total internal reflection happens. If incident angle is less than the critical angle, then refraction happens. So these are the three phenomena only can happen in light. There are no other possibilities. Okay, now we'll see based on this one how many the ways the fiber can be fabricated. Okay, so in fiber there are three regions. One is the core, another one is the cladding, this region, and the outer one is actually this area. This area is actually nothing but the protective area, like jacketing of optical. Because optical fiber is very, very thin, you need very hard or protective area. You see here also it's thin. This is the core, this is the cladding, and then outside or protective areas are there. So who actually carries the light? The core carries the light. What is the difference between core and cladding then? Core and cladding almost are made of same material, except that refracting index of core N1 is greater than refracting index of the cladding. Okay, so they can be glass core or plastic core. There are many different combinations can be there. In broad category, we divide the optical fibers in two categories. One is a single mode and another is a multi-mode. You see, just now, single and multi, these are actually very common term. Just now, we just introduce a word, mode. What is mode? In in optics, mode is nothing but the like energy path of light. When light or photon, if we think about a single unit, if the photon travels, photon carries some energy, right? So that energy, the way it goes, or the path it maintains, we call the energy path. So in single mode fiber, only one light can, or one mode, one light path can be possible. In multi-mode fiber, multiple light path is possible. Here we can see this is a typical single mode and multi-mode like schematic is there. If the core is very small, it's definitely a single mode fiber. Why? We will actually see soon that if our core had to be optical fiber has to be a single mode, its core has to be very narrow or thin, whatever. So there are two categories, single mode and multi-mode. And multi-mode are actually are two type. One is a stepped indexed and graded index. Index we know, right? It comes from the refractive index. So step index means from core to cladding, the refractive index change suddenly. But graded index means from core to cladding, the refractive index changes gradually. You will see. So this is a single mode fiber. This is a single mode. This is the core. So this is the profile. So this is the core profile. This is the this part is the cladding. Only small portion. It's actually core is very narrow, so then only single path of light can be propagated or accommodated. In multi-mode are actually two type. One is the multi-mode step index. In step index, what happens? The core, this is the refracting index profile of the core. So you see, this is the refracting index profile of the core. The core N1, for example, this is the refracting index for core. This is refracting index for cladding. From when you changes from, for example, from if we go from center, you see you are going from center to edges, from center to edges. It's actually linear, this area. Suddenly it falls down. Means at N2, the refracting index suddenly changes. Sharp changes. But for gradient index, it's totally different. This is the center of this core. When is going towards the from center to the outer, so the refracting index decreases gradually. Then the cladding. Okay. So what is the benefit? We will actually see what is the benefit it had. Now, this is a multi-mode fiber, means actually multiple modes can be traveled. This is in single mode, you can see only one light path is there. But in multi-mode, multiple light path is there. Multiple light path is there. You see, one light path, another, multiple. You see, multiple light. So each light will carry a different signal. That's why how you actually increase the bandwidth. Okay. So graded index, why the graded index? Actually, we'll see detail. You see the graded index, light actually travels very peculiar shape. Light goes this way, then this way, then that way. You see, very peculiar. We'll see immediately within few slides. We'll see why we need a multimode to like a stem index to a graded index fiber. Okay. So what is the difference between the in general multimode and graded index fiber? So in single mode fiber, it's good that only single mode, only one mode can be accommodated. Now here you see the minimum. Okay, let us the new word comes, dispersion. Okay, this is too much for you. Okay, I will discuss it later, not now. So we'll introduce the word dispersion. Then actually we'll come back to this slide again. Okay, and then we'll compare the single mode and multi-mode fiber. So we'll actually compare the like comparison between the single mode and multi-mode. We'll compare it. Okay, comparison. We'll do some comparison. Okay. Now I like to go back. I'd like to go back to the this light properties. What happens? How the Snell's law actually apply to a step index fiber, which is a multimode. Okay. So let me draw the profile, indexing profile again. So this is the core. This is the cladding. So let us change the color. Then this is the cladding. Okay. So if I draw a, so this will be the core. This is the cladding. So this is the indexing profile. This is the indexing profile. Now, this actually same thing happened. Actually, this picture is there, but I keep some space here so that I can redraw it. What happens if we apply this light refraction law to the our stepped index fiber? Okay. For example, this is the okay. This is the interface, okay? So this is the core area. So this area, this is actually core, eh? So this is the total, is the core. This is the core area. And this is the cladding area. This is the cladding. What happens when like we give some light to this fiber? So this is what? This is what kind of fiber? This is the simple one, step index. The difference between the stepped index fiber and single mode fiber is nothing but the core area. If core area is low, if this area is like very narrow, then this is a single mode fiber. If it's a little bit wide, then it's a multi-mode fiber. Otherwise, their indexing profile and everything is same. This picture is tells you how the light goes, but still I can draw it again. Okay. Now, how many ways the light can insert to this is the core, eh? This is actually core from here to here, this region. So within this region, light has to be inserted. Light cannot be fall here. Okay, light had to fall to the center at some angle, whatever the angle is. Okay. Now, for example, let us say we increase the angle very much. Eh? So this is the first angle. Okay, what happened if this is the angle? Then because the medium changes, eh? This is the air medium. From air, light is going to the glass medium. What will happen? Refraction. This is actually its trajectory, but light will not go in this direction, right? It will be a little bit bent towards this vertical plane. So it's actually go to this. But when it goes again, here the refracting index N1 is higher than the refracting index N2. What will happen? It will go towards like it will bend again a little bit. So this light, which is actually here, this is actually unguided, means actually it's no more in our core area. So this light cannot be used. Okay, the second try, we will actually change the direction again and again. Okay, so I let me remove and let me draw it again. Okay, so our next attempt is okay, increase. This was our previous, so I increase the angle. Little bit. You see, remember this was our previous angle. Eh? Now I increase the angle. What will happen? If I increase, then it will be bent again. Okay, this is actually the plane where this critical stuff. So if this is the critical angle, then this will be its outer path. In our this experiment, this is the one. Eh? This is the one. See, this is the one. For now, this is the critical angle. What happens in the critical angle? This is the 90 degree, right? This is 90 degree, and this is actually our that angle. Just give a name. Critical, theta critical. So this angle is get theta critical. So what happened? CR critical. Okay. So from Snell's law, we know that refracting index is N1 here at the ear, and refracting. Oh, sorry, core is already have a N1. So let's say ear have refracting index N0. So what will happen? N0 sine this angle is a critical angle equal to, it goes to the N1. So N1, N1, probably this was the its angle. So sine θ1, for example, θ1. This is actually the Snell's law applying in this area. If we apply Snell's law here, what will happen? N1 sine this angle, when we have this. Okay, can I delete, and probably it will be good if I can rewrite it. It becomes a little bit clumsy. Can I rewrite it here somewhere? Yeah. Okay. Actually, this figure actually give it a good idea. So there are two ways the light actually interacting. Okay, there are two planes where light is interacting. One is here, when light goes from air medium to the glass medium, and here when there are two refracting index material, like refracting index of glass of higher refracting index, this one, and the cladding of this one. So in 2 point, the Snell's law can be applicable. That's actually a good idea. Okay. So for point B, at this point, what happened? This is the critical angle, right? So we can write that this is N1. So we can write N1 sine alpha critical. This is actually the notation here. This is the critical angle equal to, this is the critical when the light goes to the perpendicular. So we can write N2. We can write N2 sine. It makes a 90 degree. So sine 90 degree. We know sine 90 degree is 1. So this will be N2. So sine alpha critical angle is N2 by N1. Alpha is nothing but sine inverse N2 by N1. Got it, guys? Easy. Now, the same Snell's law can be applicable at point A. So at point A, we can also rewrite the Snell's law again. Okay. So here the refracting is, this is in the AR. So it can be written here N0 sine. This is the angle. Here is capital theta is equal to N1, which is actually the core, because it is actually going from AR to the first core. So N1 sine, we are actually talking about this angle, which is nothing but the 90 degree minus alpha C, or critical angle. So we do this derivation, right? So actually this one is redirecting here. Means sine theta by sine 90 degree minus alpha becomes N1 minus N2. Sorry, N1 minus N0. So now, what is sine theta? Is nothing but sine 90 degree minus theta is nothing but the cos theta. We know cos theta is, what is the formula of cos square theta? Cos square theta is nothing but 1 minus sine square theta. So we just do this reformulating. So we find that, okay, sine theta, this angle, sine theta, this one is nothing but the N1 square minus N2 square. So if you want to have a theta, is nothing but sine inverse N1 square minus N2 square. What is this theta actually? Theta actually is this angle we're talking about. Means actually, if you use this angle, then this will be your amount. Means actually, if you take the mirror, so this will be the angle. So this is the angle of light can be giving or interacting to the. Now here this actually says this amount is called numerical aperture. You see, we know from the camera activities that, okay, if this aperture is opening more, it actually, what is the numerical aperture? Numerical aperture is capability of gathering light. More and more open. If it's, for example, this numerical aperture is like this means actually the aperture is opening more. But we had a problem that at a certain angle, if this angle, for example, this one, this angle is more than the critical angle. So this extra light in this area, and in this area, they will not be gathered actually. They cannot be coupled to the. So where our this idea will be implemented? This idea will be implemented if we use a laser. For example, if you have a laser, like for example, this is your laser output. You want to combine this laser output with a optical fiber. So how much from this laser can be inserted? We can actually find this value from the numerical aperture. We can easily find, okay, how much power can be coupled to the optical fiber. Imagine your laser is 100 watt, but your numerical aperture of optical fiber is low. What does it mean? Means actually its core is very narrow. Then only few amount of light can be interacted, though your laser power is very high. There is no use of low numerical aperture. If you want to couple more light, or you want to gather more light from laser, that your numerical aperture should be high, means actually the core should be higher. The diameter of the core is higher. Okay, that's actually it says. And if we know the diameter of something, we can actually calculate the numerical. So probably there is some example here that if these are the summary, the formula so far we find. So for example, if the core has a refracting index of this, the cladding has a refracting index of this, what is the numerical aperture? You can find the numerical aperture. Numerical aperture is a 20.24, which actually in degree is 14 degree, very low, right? 14 degrees means what? It means actually this. So this angle, this is 14 degree. Of course, we do not know what is the critical angle. We can calculate. We know of if you can reach up to the critical angle, then you can gather more light. Means actually this angle will be higher. This angle is called the acceptance angle. Okay. So for a single mode fiber, the numerical aperture actually quite low, but for multi-mode fiber is very high compared to the single mode fiber. Okay. So what's happened actually in a single mode or in multi-mode? Now actually we'll see in a optic like when they do interaction with a laser. For example, this is a laser light. Okay. This is the output from a laser. Now there are two possibilities, that you have a this kind of core, which is actually we make it very narrow core, means only one light can go there. What happens is one component of the light can go there. So means actually only one mode of light can go there. If one mode of light goes there, what happens? It can travel further, long distance. Long distance. Now we are actually going back to compare this single mode fiber to the multi-mode fiber. Remember, I kept it for comparison. Yeah, here. Now, probably I can write it here. So, compared to the single mode fiber to the multi-mode fiber, let's see what is their profile looks like. In a single mode fiber, it's actually like this. Means actually its mode indexing profile. Indexing profile is this. Means actually this one, this portion is very narrow. For multi-mode fiber, the core is very wide. What happened then? If we see this mode profile, then profile looks like this. means actually the core area is higher, core area is lower. If its core area is lower, what happens then? Single mode, so only one mode can be trouble. If it's multi-mode, means core is very wide, what happens? If you have a laser, for example, this is your output of the laser. So lots of laser actually contains multiple wavelength. So one light can go there, another component of light can go there, and it goes mix total internal reflection, it goes there, another light goes there, makes travel there. You see, multiple of light can pass through this core. Means actually many core, many mode. Multiple means many mode. If it's many mode, what happens? There is a problem happens if there is a multiple modes. Guys, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see there will be a problem if there are multiple modes. Now we are actually coming to our like what happens in communication. For example, I am let me draw it quite big picture. So this is the axis of the fiber and this is the core. This is the core. Now see, imagine you are using this optical fiber in a digital communication. So you send a pulse. So the laser here, for example, in this laser, there is a pulse here, this pulse. Okay, so at the beginning, this is the pulse, for example. So this is the light. So one light is actually going through this direction here, along to the axis. Okay, so this pulse which you transmitted, this guy will reach at the end earlier, isn't it? Because this is the shortest path for this pulse, right? But if this pulse goes to this way, like for example, this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, or this way. For example, this is our receiver. Here, we receive it here. What happened? The pulse which actually received by this one will be much delayed, isn't it? For example, if this is time, so it reaches there at 10 nanosecond. The second pulse, which is actually due to this one, will reaches there at 20 nanosecond. Okay, probably another version of the same pulse, same light, actually traveling. So probably it's a little bit late, 30 nanosecond. What will happen? I am actually receiving the same version of the pulse in different time. What happens then? My pulse, which I sent, like, imagine this is my pulse, when I received here, is actually very wide pulse. Because some component here at 10 nanoseconds, some component here at 20 nanoseconds, some component here at 30 nanoseconds, isn't it? So my pulse becomes like this. Pulse become wider. This is called dispersion. Got it, guys? So if there is a dispersion happens in digital communication do what? It actually constantly like make what is called the PCM, pulse code modulation, right? So 0, 1, 0, right? If it's do this one, for example, this pulse is actually detected as 0, 1, 0. What will happen? So 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. You see, you send this pulse, you receiving this pulse, which is actually erroneous in digital communication, right? So dispersion makes it at error. So dispersion happens here. So another point 3, dispersion happens. But in single mode fiber, this do not happen. Right? In single mode, this do not, because there is only one mode. You send one light, it detects, and you receive it. So no dispersion. But problem is that there is only one mode. If it's one mode, means actually its bandwidth is low. Bandwidth is low because it can carry only one signal. It's many mode, means actually its bandwidth is higher. Lots of information can be transferred. You see, there is a pros and cons in both ways, right? Benefit and the advantage and disadvantage in both ways. Okay. Okay, let's go back to our so now I will go back. So single mode fiber have some advantage, also disadvantage. Multi-mode step index fiber have greatest disadvantage is dispersion, which can be countered by the graded index fiber. Okay, so what's happening in a graded index fiber? The problem happens in this figure can be overcome. This is a multi-mode, but this is a step index multi-mode. Eh? This is a step index multi-mode fiber. We can, the greatest problem in step index is the dispersion, which can be overcome. Okay, let me draw this again. Now we are drawing graded index fibers. Graded index. What happened in graded index? So this is actually core, because it's multi-mode means core should be wide. So this is the and this is the axis, for example. Remember, what is the mode profile of this graded index fiber? Indexing profile. Let me draw it again. Eh? The index profile, how it looks like, the index profile. The index profile is like this. So in the core, from the center of the core, so this is the center of the core, the refracting index changes gradually. So the core refracting index changes gradually means what? You see here have the highest refracting index, means actually here have the highest, okay? Here have the highest in the axis, in the core, like center of the core, have the highest refracting index n. So this is the index profile, right? So here have the, this point have the highest refracting index. So for example, let it give a name n1. So the graded index fiber actually is created layer by layer, then created another layer, which, for example, refracting index is n2. N2 is less than n1, then n3, another layer, n3 is less than n2, then n4 is less than n3, like this one. So imagine I have a light, which is actually interacting the highest refracting index. What does it mean? If light is like encountered highest refracting index means what? Here at the center, the density is highest, means actually the speed of light will be lowest here, isn't it? Now same thing, do the same experiment. That from here we are sending a pulse. The pulse, which is actually traveling through this area, he's actually, this is the shortest path for him, right? Because this is the shortest distance from this point to this point. But when the pulse actually traveling through this center of the core, because it's his highest refracting index, means actually is velocity should be, or speed is lowest. So this one actually from this pulse, from this point to this point, it reaches here at 10 nanosecond, for example, nanosecond. The light which actually, for example, this is the plane. So the light which actually going there is actually, you see, it's layer by layer. Refracting index actually, refracting index decreases gradually. Refracting index decreases this direction. Means actually light will continuous bend. Light will continuous bend. Light will continuous bend. Light will continuous bend. And because when he was going to the upper layer, his speed increases. Speed increases. Speed increases. So his flow fast, very fast, then again slow, so fast, again slow. So you see, again very fast, again little bit slow, very fast, again little slow. Means actually the pulse which actually going through this way, it actually get more speed, though it had to cover higher area, higher length, but it actually because it goes to the faster, it also reaches to the n at 10 nanosecond. Guys, do you got my idea?
Yes, sir.
Means you see this pass I'm sending, though they are traveling with different area. Someone could be these areas here, but they all actually reaches to the end point. So no dispersion. No dispersion happens. Okay. So these are the like basic kind of optical fibers. Now we will discuss about a special kind of fiber that used like has a huge application in telecommunication, which is called PCF. Photonic crystal fiber. These are actually very modern name. Previously, this fiber used to called holy fiber. There are lots of holes inside. That's why they are called holy fiber. It's no more actually called by this term because there are air holes here in the fiber. These are also actually called microstructure fiber. Like microstructure fiber is still popular as a name, but holy fiber is no more actually. It is called by this name. Okay, so this fiber actually are two type. Type one is index guiding fiber. And another one is type 2. This is type 1. Type 2 is photonic band gap fiber. Band gap. We'll see the in structure how they look like. Okay. Now let me draw a. They are may not be properly like circle. I'm trying to draw a circular fiber, like round fiber. Okay, looks like round. Okay. So in index guiding fiber, this is actually the core is here. This is the core. And the outside is cladding. This side is cladding. Also, here in the cladding, some air holes are introduced. Air holes. They could be different shape and sizes or different designs. I'm just drawing a like typical type of one. So, yeah, this is actually the core. This part is cladding. And this could be at outside, there can be a coating for protection kind of stuff. Now, this core is a solid core. What is mean? It's a solid core. Solid core means actually solid means solid. Okay, this is actually a solid. It's not hollow. It's a totally solid. So the refracting index, for example, is N1. Okay, and cladding, the refracting index is N2. You see, N1 and N2 initially, N1 and N2 are the same type of material. Means actually their refracting index was equal. Their refracting index was equal. When you introduce air holes in the cladding, what happened? It will actually reduce the refracting index, and it will become the N1, the refracting index in N1 becomes higher than N2. Initially, their refracting index was equal, but in N2 means in cladding, you introduce some air holes. What is the refracting index of air holes? 1. So 1 and 1.5, for example, imagine this is a silica. Silica, made of silica, they are made of same. So silica has a refracting index of 1.5, means N1 has a refracting index of 1.5. N2 also had a refracting index of 1.5. When you introduce air holes has a refracting index of 1. So 1 and 1.5 in average, they becomes less refracting index, right? Means actually N1 have higher refracting index. If N1 had a higher refracting index, what kind of properties it need to guide the light? You see, we studied this one. If we goes from the higher refracting index to the lower refracting index, then our guiding mechanism or light guiding mechanism in this fiber will be total internal reflection. Remember, we just talked this principle before. If light goes from higher refracting index to the lower refracting index or tries to pass through, then it's called total internal reflection. This is the mechanism it will be using, and the light will be constantly remain in the solid core. Light will be guided there. Okay. So what happens to the photonic band gap then? Let me draw it again. So in photonic band gap, there will be a hollow core. That's all. There will be a hollow core. Okay, you can introduce some air holes in the cladding. Okay, here this is the diameter of the cladding, for example, D. And for example, from this hole, like air holes to that air holes, this distance is called pitch. So this is called pitch. Now, wavelength lambda, distance D, or sorry, diameter D, and the pitch distance. So we can call it, just give a name, A. A, they will actually combinedly will guide the light. Guide the light. Okay. Now, we are talking a lot about this special kind. The question is why we need to modify. Why need to modify the single for step index fiber. What was the step index fiber, guys? Remember, this was a fiber, this was a core, right? Core was a solid, so there was a solid, light was there, right? Now you see, when light was traveling through this solid, through this core, what happens? Light carries photon, light carries h nu energy, right? Now when light is passing through this core, So imagine this is the core, this is the core, this is the core, this is the core. When light is passing through photon, this, when we fabricate this glass fiber or whatever, there are lots of impurities inside. Of course, this impurity is very, very low, very, very low, once per billion. If you like take 10 to the power billion is 9, 10 to the 9. If you take 10 to the 9 molecules, only one molecules will be like impurities, that kind of pure. Still, when light hit impurities, for example, the light, this photonic crystal fiber, oh sorry, any kind of fiber can be made of silica, but in the silica or when the processing, there can be another material here. When the light hits that material, it creates heat, it generates heats. Imagine you are actually giving very short wavelength, means carrying lots of light and heat this kind of impurities, it actually heats up. The core becomes very hot. And whenever you are carrying this is for a thousands of kilometers means lots of them impurities inside, right? Means actually what? If it goes on and on, at a certain point, the core temperature will be very, very high. And this fiber will almost melt down. Got it? But if you use a photonic crystal fiber by introducing some air holes, what will happen? Air hole will actually help you to dissipate this heat. Means actually you can carry light further, more than like thousands of kilometers. That's actually the reason, instead of using like standard step index fiber, we use photonic crystal fiber. Actually, the most suitable use photonic crystal fiber is, for example, its application is transmission, like telecommunication transmission or digital communication transmission. Got it, guys? Okay, so
Yes,
our last topic is fabrication. Fabrication of optical fiber. Now, this topic is not like this will be your actually self study. I will give you a little bit hint. It's more like theoretical how it happened. I gave you two books. One is Kaiser, another is Agrawal, right? So this one is actually from in Kaiser book. It has good explanation. Kaiser book. I actually opened that books to show you. Page, I don't know. Yeah, this is the same copy you had. So page 72. Page 72. So go through it. Now I will just give you a like very brief of photonic crystal fiber fabrication, and you will actually yourself go to the detailed one. Okay. So there are various methods. So double crucible method, and what else? Let me see in the book. Okay. Okay, modified chemical vapor deposition. So modified chemical vapor deposition, method 2. Method 3, outside vapor deposition, outside vapor deposition. Method 4, vapor axial deposition, vapor axial. These are actually very descriptive, so guys, you go yourself. Another one is plasma. So plasma activated chemical vapor deposition. You see, all are vapor. Vapor means actually the it will be vaporized and will and the glass fiber will be vaporized by some method and will be stored. So it will take long process. All this time takes longer, very, very long process. Only these are like very fast process. The double crucible. You remember we actually studied crucible stuff in our school colleges. Crucible is nothing but when you melt something. Okay, so it will looks like this one. Very simple architecture. Okay, so there will be a container. How to draw it? There will be container. So in this container, this is the input. Here actually you will give the core material, and within another one, like there will be another one. By here you will be give the cladding material, which is actually kind of same material. You see in your books there are detailed explanation how you make silicon and how you can increase or decrease refracting index by adding dopants or impurities. For example, fluorine, barium trioxide. If you add, the refracting index will decrease. If you add germanium dioxide, your refracting index increases like this one. Now there will be a this is like inner crucible. This is outer crucible. So this is inner. This is outer. And there are actually some heating material here. Like this is called induction heat. There are some induction heater here. By actually applying current, you can actually induct. So for example, this one will be used to heat up this area. This one will be actually I made some mistake. This one actually not here. It will be very close by here, like very close by. So that this, for example, increase this one. So this induction heater will actually heat up this inner one, and this will heat up the outer one. So you give your like solid material, they will be melted, and they will be actually comes out as a core and cladding. Also, of course, there are another heater will be there to polishing, blah 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 kind of stuff. So this is actually very fast mechanism, but the problem is, and this is cheap. The problem is that the core and cladding finishing will not be good. For example, this is core, this is cladding, like this is core, because you see, this is not very sophisticated mechanism. So the core and cladding area will not be very, like finishing is not good. This is not a good quality stuff. Okay. So guys, please go through it. It will be as a self study for you. Okay, guys. Hopefully, that's actually our today's lecture. So how to stop sharing and stop